あ、皆さん、こんにちは。こんにちは。元気ですか？今日は皆さんは元気ですか？元気？先生は元気です。コーヒーも持ってます。これはコーヒーです。まあ、半分ぐらいが残ってますので、ちょっと飲みながら教室を行うつもりです。コーヒーを飲みます。コーヒーを飲みます。じゃあ、今日は何日ですか？今日は何日ですか？まあ、これは録音ですから、ちょっと向こうではちょっと違う日になりますので、今日はこちらで2020年の9月27日です。今日は20 2020年9月28日、27日です。はい。じゃあちょっと書きました。今日は2020年9月27日です。日曜日です。今日、皆さんが読めますですね。読めます。You can read it. 読めます。読めます。So we're going to learn how to say potential forms of verbs. I can read it. 皆さんが読めますですね。今日、き with a 小さいよ、う。今日は2000年。2000年。今日は2020年。じゃあ、これは年です。これは年です。It means year. 2020年9月27日です。27日です。日曜日です。覚えてるでしょう。前回は9月20日でしたね。9月20日。So, as I told you before, the days of the month for the first 10 days, you are using Japanese numbers, with the exception of the first day, which is 1日。9月1日、9月2日、3日、4日、5日、6日、7日、8日、9日、10日。先生もちょっと弱いんですね。I'm not so good at saying those. I get them mixed up. I still have to review them. I didn't do that. It's been a week since I did any recording. We've been very busy here. I just wanted to say to you that today is the 67th birthday of my guru. My guru is named Amma. 今日は67歳の誕生日です。誕生日、birthday。Amma の誕生日です。今日はAmma の誕生日です。67歳です。67歳です。じゃあ、ちょっとアマさんにご紹介します。これはアマです。アマのお誕生日です。はい、じゃあ今日はアマのお誕生日です。あまり関係ないんですが、ちょっとそのために。じゃあ、次は今日は20銭。Why do I keep saying 20銭? I've got it, it's a block. I don't say the names of the years very much. 2020年、1000. 1000 is 1000. 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000, 6000, 8000, 7000, 8000, 9000, and then 1万. We'll go into 1万 later, but right now the year is 2020. 2020. 2020年9月27日です。So I said the first day of the month, the first 10 days are Japanese numbers, plus the 20th. The last time we had the 20th. So it must have been Nichiyobi, right? The last time we met was Nichiyobi. Okay. So we'll go over the days of the week later. 今日は27日です. Okay. So, can you read this? You can maybe read. The first one is, what is this? And this, and this, and this. And then there's a comma. There's a comma right here. これから、これから、これから. These ones you may not have learned yet. Ra, ri, ru, re, ro. It's near the last column. これから、これから、ますます、ますます、日本語で話すつもりです。So this is a little bit of a difficult sentence. ますます means more and more. ますます. So I'm going to be speaking more and more Japanese from this point onwards. これから from this point onwards. これ is this. これは何ですか? これは時計ですね。今は何時ですか? 今は何時ですか? 4時5分です。4時5分です。午後の4時5分です。だから一番最初にこんにちはと言いました。こんにちはと言いました。I said こんにちは。午後ですから。午前でしたらおはようございます。午前の4時はすごく早いですね。早い、遅い。今はちょっと遅いですね。まあ今日はだいたい終わる、すぐ終わる。なんか仕事は普通5時までですね。仕事5時まで。Normally we work until 5 o'clock. Of course, the Japanese tend to work a lot of overtime. They may go get dinner and come back to work after dinner. Anyway, 今日はちょっと遅いですね。早い、遅い。早い、遅い。So hopefully you have notebooks. Hopefully you have a section for adjectives. 早い means early. 遅い means late. Yeah. まあ今日も遅くない。It's not late. Okay. まあ4時ですね。これは時計です。Okay. これからますます日本語で話すつもりです。話す。We're going to be learning the verbs. Hanasa is the dictionary form of the verb which means to talk. And we've been through this before. We have the Nihongo. Look at that. That has the, well, I'm going to do this once more time just because I feel it's so important. I just want you to get the hang of, oh, there it is. I can't, okay. So this is the talk radical. This is called the talk radical. And here we have the talk radical again. And here we have the talk radical again. So only the right-hand side is different. So these two words have to do with talking. This is language, and this is to talk itself. Okay? これからますます日本語で話すつもりです。日本語で話すつもりです。Okay, I'm going to erase these lines right now. 消す。これを消します。消します。この線を今消しています。消しています。消しました。消しました。これからますます日本語で話すつもり。つもり is, that is my intention. Hanasa is the dictionary form. So when you have an additional word like tsumori, tsumori is an independent word. It's not a suffix. It's an independent word meaning it's my intention. Hanasu tsumori desu. It's my intention to speak more and more Japanese from this point onwards. Okay? 心配しないでください。心配しないでください。心配しないでください。心配しないでください。あ、心配です。心配です。心配です。いや、日本語で話すと分からなくなるんですよ。いや、ぜひ日本語で話さないでください。まだ早いですから。心配ですね。心配しないでください。 Kudasai means please. You'll see a lot of kudasai is very frequently used. You probably have come across it before. Shinpai is to be concerned, to worry about something. And you see that it's written in kanji. Shinpai. Shinpai. Shinpai shinai de kudasai. So I'm going to be speaking a lot of Japanese, but don't worry about it. Okay? 重要な部分を必ずローマ字で書きます。Okay, now you understand, I think you maybe understood from this point on, you should be able to understand. Okay, oh. Okay. From this romaji, from romaji de, and de is the instrument with which I do something. I'm writing with romaji. Romaji de kakimasu. So that's this is the mas form of the verb. It's the polite form. I didn't use the polite form here because it was followed by tsumori. Okay, hanasu, kaku. This is kaku. Okay, we'll be getting more into verbs. Hopefully today, I have a lot planned. I told you last time we'd do it today. Do you remember what the word for verb is? Doshi. Doshi. これから動詞の勉強をするつもりです。これから何の勉強でしたっけ？動詞。これから動詞の勉強するつもりです。I plan to study verbs from this point on. Okay, but right now I want to stress that 重要な部分を必ずローマ字で書きます。So I'm saying don't worry, the important parts, important 重要. You don't even need to write this down unless you want to. If you're a really gung-ho student, you're going to write down J-U with a line over it, and then Y-O with a line over it. 重要. Okay, so both have lines. 重要な部分. Bubu, both of the vowels are short. Bu, B-U, and bubu, portions. 重要な部分を必ず, absolutely, with necessity, 必ずローマ字で書きます. So don't worry if you don't understand something, if you didn't get the time to note it down. Of course, I forget that all this is recorded. It's a video. You can go back on your own time. You can pause the video. You can take a screenshot of this after I finish up. I'll give you a signal to let you know to take a screenshot. But unless it's written in Romaji, don't worry about it. Right now, I consider our capabilities to be still at the Romaji level. But I just want to expose you. Okay. 書かないと初心者のレベルではありませんので If I don't write it, this to means when. 書かないと. When I don't write it. 書かない. 書きます. 書かない. This is in the dictionary form, the plain form. To, when I don't write it. 初心者. 初心者 is a way of saying beginner. 初心者のレベル. レベル means level. Okay? ではありませんので. And we really haven't even done much with the negative of des. ではありません is the polite way to say the negative form of des. The negative form of des is quite long. Okay? And then the node at the end of the sentence kind of leaves it dangling. That's because you're beginners. And that's because the words aren't at beginning level. So that's why if I don't write it in Romaji, 心配しないでください. ぜひ心配しないでください. Don't get too concerned. You're just beginners. You won't be speaking Japanese until you go to Japan. Let's just put it that way, unless you're really, really diligent students. 頑張ってください. Okay, I've written it in kanji, in Romaji, so it must be important. 頑張ってください. 頑張ってください. And that means, ganbatte kudasai. Give it a go. Keep on keeping on. Tough it out. Ganbatte kudasai. Ganbatte kudasai. Put some energy into it. I've never come up with a good English expression for ganbatte kudasai. It's so frequently used in Japanese. Ganbatte kudasai. Watashi wa kohi o nomu tame ni ganbarimasu. Ganbarimasu. So it can be in the mas form as well. Ganbarimasu. That means I will put an effort towards drinking coffee. When it's mas, it's usually indicating something in the future. Ganbarimasu. Kohi o nomu tame ni ganbarimasu. Oh. おいしい。コーヒーが好きですね。コーヒーが好きです。大好きです。じゃあ、頑張りましょう。頑張りましょう。これから頑張りましょう。頑張る。頑張ってください。頑張りましょう。頑張ります。頑張ります。So that means I'm going to put forth an effort. 頑張ってください。Okay? And then I've written it in hiragana. And it's also, there is a kanji for this. I don't like the kanji, but once again, I say the days of the word processor, they've started using the kanji quite frequently. Ganbatte kudasai. Notice the chisai tsu here. Ganbatte kudasai. Kudasai means please. Okay, so you can take a screenshot of this at this point. I'm going to put a couple of more kanji on the page, but they don't need to be in your screenshot. Okay. Yeah. So I said I was going to talk about doshi. 今日はちょっと動詞の話をすると約束しましたんですが、その前にこの字に関するちょっと話をしたいと思います。これは何ですか？これは何ですか？これは何ですか？ Okay. Now you could probably answer this. What's an answer? A possible answer for これは何ですか？これは時計ですね。これはコップです。コップの中にコーヒーがあります。コップ、コーヒーコップ。これは時計です。これは何ですか？いやー、それは漢字ですね。漢字です。でも、どの漢字ですか？ちょっとわかりません。わかりません。You can just say わかりません。You can say ちょっとわかりません。わかりません is a little bit short. It make you sound a little annoyed that I'm even showing this to you. ちょっとわかりません。ねえ、先生、ちょっとわかりません。ちょっと何でしょうか？ぜひ教えてください。教えてください。ください。教えてください。Please tell us. Please teach us. What is this? What is this kanji? What does it look like? It looks a little bit like this kanji, doesn't it? It looks like this kanji. What is this kanji? これは何ですか？これは9ですね。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。これは9ですね。じゃあ、これは9と1線があるんですね。はい。なぜそんな変な字が出てるでしょうか？ What is this? This kanji is, it's written in the same way. You write this one first, I believe, and then this one, because this one's the farthest to the left. This one's upper center. I don't know. Either one I think is okay. And then this one is last, this little line going through the 9. この漢字の意味は丸です。この漢字の意味は丸です。This kanji's meaning is 丸。You remember 丸？丸。これは丸ですね。これは、このちっちゃい丸。これは小さい丸です。小さい丸です。他のパピプペポの丸はありません。この点々がありますですね。点々はいくつかもあるんですね。ここには点々があります。点々、点々、点々、点々、点々、点々。 点々いっぱいあります。点々、点々、いっぱいあります。いっぱい。So many of them. 点々いっぱいありますけれども、一つの丸もないんですね。その丸はどういう役割ですか？ハヒフヘホがあるんですね。バビブベボもあるんですね。バビブベボでしたら、点々ですね。でも、パピプペポ、丸。So next to the pa, you put a little maru there, and it becomes pa instead of ha. You put a ten, it becomes ba. Okay, so that's maru. Maru. Okay, and it looks a lot like Q. Okay, so I thought, well, what is the reason that these look so much alike? I thought that these must be related characters. I thought that maybe the 9 was the radical. Remember, this is a radical. This is the speaking radical. The speaking radical, let's see, is it on this page? I don't see the, right here, hanasu, speaking radical. That's the only other time that we see the speaking radical. We see the day radical right here in yobi, nichiyobi desu. So I don't see any other times. These two are not really the day radical. They're not radicals. This is something that you just learn with experience. Okay, but these are totally unrelated, I found out. So I went to Wikipedia, and I'm telling you, I really love Wikipedia. So all I did was I wrote down kanji in Romaji, and I think that I wrote down maru. I think I wrote down maru. And so I got the historical forms of maru. Okay? And this is what maru looks like. And this Shuowen, here we have the Shuowen Jiezi, compiled in the Han Dynasty. This is one of the oldest Chinese dictionaries. Shuowen Jiezi, very famous dictionary, which has all of the origins of characters in it. So the Shuowen Jiezi, it was already written in the same Chinese script that we're using back now. In the Han Dynasty, they were using the same Chinese script that's used now. So the Shuowen Jiezi was talking about small seal script. So the Chinese have a lot of seals, and in the seal script, they wrote maru this way. And then in this ancient script, in some other dictionary that I don't even know, it was written like this. Okay. So the Shuowen suggests that it's an ideogram, which means that it conveys an idea of tilting or flipping, something that can be tilted or something round. So unrelated to the right components of characters like these. So, but actually, if you wanted to look it up, you would look up this. This is a radical. It says it's unrelated, but actually, these are all classified in the same way. This gets very technical. Unfortunately, I've shown you a very technical example. But if we see this, we see that it's a pictogram. This one is an ideogram, conveys an idea of something that's flipped. You can't actually draw flipping, it's an idea. Okay? But this is an actual number. So it's a pictogram. It's a stylized hand. It says it's a stylized hand. Maybe we can best see the hand here. There's the hand, the wrist, and the elbow, supposedly. I don't get it. I don't really buy this, but this is accepted history by Chinese scholars. Here we have the Shuowen Jiezi right here. Okay, then it looks very much like the modern 9 here. Okay. Oracle bones, I mentioned the oracle bones before. Those are the oldest Chinese letters. So we can't really see. The bronze inscriptions are much newer. The most famous bronzes, or the oldest bronzes, are the Shang Dynasty, which was 2 centuries. It was the Shang Dynasty. It was before Confucius. So it was the 1st or 2nd century BC. A lot of Shang bronzes in museums. After that, there's Zhou. The Zhou bronzes aren't as old as the Shang bronzes. Okay, so anyway, it's a picture of a hand. Okay, the earlier forms resemble the word for hand, which meant elbow. Okay, which is now written in some weird way. And then after the meaning of elbow was forgotten, Q was taken as a symbol, a fist tightening, to bump up against something. Okay. And there's a metaphorical bumping up of 9 against 10. I don't get that one at all. At any rate, the point is that Q and Maru are not related at all. It's just a coincidence. But why would a complicated word like this represent Maru? Okay, I want to go into our word processor right now. I love doing this. Let's write the word Maru. Okay, Maru. Look at the choices we get here. I think these are things that I have written before something. I don't know. Because if I hit the space bar, I'm going to get a new list of candidates. And this one is this is the one I wanted to show you. This is also Maru. It's a perfect circle. Okay. I'm going to enter and accept it. And then I'm going to write 0. Okay. So 0, look at this for 0. Okay. These are the choices for 0. But look at this choice. It's not at all like this choice. So the Maru is a independent symbol. It's a symbol that's used so frequently in Japanese. And look at this one. This is a double circle. And this is used for degrees of acceptability. Maru means good. And the double circle here means excellent. And I think it's Maru-ju? I think it's Maru-ju, I don't know. Maru. Okay, that was another one that I meant to look up. And it's written in, the dictionary will tell you that it's most frequently written in, never mind, forget it. Strike that. Oh, and look at this, the little degree sign. That's a Maru. So we have different Marus, okay? So that's all I wanted to point out here. Go back to our presentation. Okay, go through all this that we've already seen, to the Maru and to the Q. Go through these. Okay, and now we're on to something else. This. What is this? You see the two Marus there? When I first got to Tokyo, I saw these signs all over the place. I was in Shinjuku. Shinjuku is the busiest center of Tokyo. And that's where my first job was in Shinjuku. And there was a department store there, both on the west side of Shinjuku Station and on the east side of the Shinjuku Station. So I think it was all the same Shinjuku branch, but it had many different stores all over Shinjuku. And I just thought it was Oi Oi department store. I told my friends, oh, are you going to Oi Oi? And they all laughed and they said, oh yeah, we're going to Oi Oi. Because they had all been through the same experience before. But when you get more knowledge, these are just some of the funny stories. You're all going to have funny stories to tell if you go to Japan. No matter how much the teacher tells you, no matter how much you're prepared, it's going to be an exciting and somewhat shocking experience when you go to Japan. It's such a different culture from both the Indian culture and the American culture. So that's a Maru, and that's a Maru-i, and that's the E sound, A-I-U-E-O, Marui, Marui. And it's not said twice, it's only said once. It's Marui Departo. I wanted to prepare a list. This is for the next lesson, how to say different buildings. A department store in Japanese is departo. So there's many, many different department stores in Tokyo. The Marui department store is mid-scale. It's not the upper scale department store. It's kind of mid-scale. But it's and it's only in Tokyo. It may have spread to other cities, but basically it's a Tokyo one. And this one is the Ueno Station, because it showed this sign to advantage. And I just wanted to kind of zoom in a little bit too. We can zoom in right here. You can see Oi Oi on the street level. And you can see, I thought maybe this picture was taken in the year 2000, But it looks like it says Nisen yen. N. That's the symbol for N. For the Japanese yen, the unit of currency. But these signs are also kind of out of focus. But the other thing I wanted to point out was this pedestrian bridge. See the pedestrian bridge? I've already forgotten how to say pedestrian bridge. Maybe you guys have remembered it. But there's pedestrian bridges all over Tokyo. So it makes it, this is a very, very busy train station, one of the busiest train stations in Tokyo, Ueno Station. There's a very famous park. We're going to be talking more about Ueno. It's one of the older sections of the cities. Ueno Park is really quite beautiful, several museums, and there's some famous temples nearby as well. So this Ueno Station is a very important train station with the pedestrian overcrossing and the Marui Departo, Marui Departo, 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 Departo. You know what? Since I just have that word sheet up, I might as well just go ahead and write it for you. De, pa, and there's a pa. It hasn't come up yet. If I put a little line in there, there it is, departo. I'll just fill it out. Departo, departo. And there's it in hiragana. If I were to write it in romaji, it would be de, pa. I'm going to go ahead and put the, why isn't that coming up? There we go. Okay. So if this were written in hiragana, we would make the A, hiragana would be written this way. It looks so absurd to me that I don't even like to write it, but I did it, didn't I? So these are 3 ways to write departo. And of course, this is the correct way to write departo. Okay, departo. So this is Marui Departo. Okay. Department store in Ueno Station. The company's name, and here we see the Maru and then the E, is a combination of the name of its predecessor's parent company, Maruni. So Maruni has gone out of business, I suppose, and the name of its president, Aoi. So I've taken the Maru from Maruni and combined it with the E, they've come up with Marui. The name of the department store is customarily written in Japanese as Marui. And I got this out of Wikipedia. Okay? But I just wanted to, so Maru is a very commonly used word in Japanese. Okay. There's one more use of Maru that I think I'm going to skip. I'm getting tired of talking. Okay. じゃあ、それでは、動詞の方に入りましょう。動詞. Now we're going to talk about doshis, but before we talk about doshis, we have to know words that talk about time. Itsu, itsu. And I've reviewed, these are words that we had before. Mainichi. Okay, mainichi, mainichi. So at this point, you really only need to write this in Romaji, but mainichi. And it's the same nichi as in nichiobi, same nichi as in nihon, mainichi. I didn't write it in kanji, mainichi. これは何ですか? I think I mentioned it before. Tokidoki, tokidoki. I know what I did. Okay. Kino, kino. Kino means yesterday, kino. And tomorrow is ashita. じゃあ、今日 is today. 今日は日曜日。昨日は土曜日でしたね。昨日は土曜日でした。明日は月曜日です。明日は月曜日です。So des is used for current time and future time. 今日は日曜日です。 明日は月曜日です。明日、明日。月、月。What did I write for 月? Why did I write 月? Why did I write 月? For when? 月 is moon. 月、月曜日。月日。月 is month. 今月, but it's 今月. Sometimes I don't even know who I am. 今月. Tsuki is for the moon. He is for the day. Nichi. Okay. And nanji. Nanji desu ka? And then I've written it mainichi. Tokidoki with that funny mark. You remember that tokidoki? That was iroiro. Use that funny mark. Kino. I would strongly recommend not to write it in kanji. When you're written in kanji, it's often pronounced sakujitsu, sakujitsu, and that's very formal. So when your word processor asks you to make the choice, choose the hiragana. I think it's much better to choose the hiragana. Okay. And the same with ashita. That in formal speech would be myonichi, myonichi, sakujitsu and myonichi. Why is it pronounced jitsu in the one hand and nichi on the second hand? Myonichi. Or am I reading it wrong? Crazy language, that's all I can tell you. Okay, and there we go, tsuki, kongetsu, getsuyobi. He, okay, can also be written like fire. I guess that's the point I was trying to make. I just wanted to show you these kanji. Okay, but anyway, these time ones, you need to know. だから、今日のレッスンは、食べるという動詞を紹介します。今日のレッスンで、食べるという動詞を紹介します。紹介します。I'm going to introduce the verb 食べる、食べる。だから食べる、毎日食べます。毎日食べます。でしょ？先生は毎日食べる。君たちは毎日食べますか？もちろん、もちろん。皆さんも毎日食べる。まあ、時々、I forgot how to say fast. I learned how to say fast in Japanese. We take a fast. You might have a day of fasting. But by and large, you just eat every day. 毎日食べます。食べます。So the mas form is used for habitual actions. Habitual actions. That's why we say 毎日食べます。明日も食べます。昨日も食べました。食べました。昨日食べました。今日食べます。これから食べるつもりです。これから食べるつもり。朝ごはんと昼ごはんを食べました。これから晩ごはんを食べます。1日3回食べます。1日3回を食べます。ちょっと食べ過ぎるですね。ちょっと太ってるんですよ。I don't need to eat 3 meals a day at my age, but I do. Okay, 食べる。食べるのは好きですよ。I love to eat. You'll find that out in just a minute how much I love to eat. 時々。Okay. 時々。何を時々。まあ、毎日ケーキも食べます。先生は毎日ケーキを食べます。ケーキ、クッキーも食べる。クッキーは大好きです。クッキーとケーキとコーヒーも毎日飲みます。だから食べると飲む。これは飲みます。食べます。Okay. 時々、fasting をします。時々 fasting します。Not often, but 時々 sometimes 時々。Okay. 昨日 3回食べました。昨日朝ごはん、昼ごはんと晩ごはん3つも食べました。昨日。明日も食べるつもりです。はい。毎月、毎月。毎日、毎月. There we go. It gets it, but 毎月. So we say 毎日 and 毎月. 毎月. So write down my in front of there. I should do that. You know what? I'm just going to correct that right now. Oh, I don't want to leave it in hiragana. I don't want to be consistent. 毎月. Oh, don't want to do that either. And I don't want it to capitalize. Sometimes these autocorrects annoy me. じゃあ、毎月. Oh, I should write my here too, but anyway, 毎月, 毎日, 毎日, and 何時. Okay. So, 食べる. これから食べるの話をします。します。する is the thing. します。I will do it. 話します。これから食べ物に関する話します。I keep saying に関する. I think I learned to say that in a business setting. You could also say, let's see, について。食べ物についてこれから話します。話します。Not yet. Days of the week, we want to review them. Do you remember the days of the week? Starting with Monday, 月曜日、火曜日、月曜日、火曜日、水曜日、木曜日、金曜日、土曜日、日曜日. And as I said, 月曜日 is the moon. 月 Ka is fire. 火曜日 Sui is water. 水曜日 and Moku is wood. 木曜日 Kin is metal. 金曜日 I said there were 5 elements in traditional Chinese alchemy. There's also 5 visible planets. 4 visible planets, plus the moon, plus the earth, plus the sun. 4 visible planets, plus the moon, plus the sun, plus the earth for 7 days. So all the 7 days are actually named after the planets. And this is almost an international, it's done internationally. Many, many languages name the days of the week after the planets. Not Chinese, unfortunately. Anyway, so we have Getsuyobi. And these are kanji that I want you to learn. I will provide this is the 12th lesson. Dai Juni Kai no lesson desu. Dakara, it's time to start learning kanji. We're about a little over a third the way through the semester. So in the next lesson or two, I will provide you a list of kanji, which will include this: Getsu, Ka, Kayobi. And Kayobi is, it's funny, I have to think of the names of the week in French because the names of the week in French are similar. Because Tuesday is actually a Norse god, and Mardi in French is related to the god Mars, which is, of course, the planet Mars. So Kase is Mars in Japanese. So all of the planets are Se. Kase? Yeah, I think it's Kase. Is it? I'm thinking there's also Waku. Oh, Wakse. Oh, Wakse is planet, but this is Kase. Yeah, Kase. Okay. Getsuyobi, Kayobi, Kase, fire, which is also pronounced he. Okay. And it's a person. You write the person first, and then the 2 tens. Okay, and it's a picture of a fire. I think you can see the fire there, can't you? Water is very similar looking, and I want to say that this is a picture of water. I don't know. Anyway, Suiyobi. And the Suisse, we have lundi, mardi, mercredi, Mercury. Of course, because it's the Mercury, the metal Mercury actually moves, right? And the planet Mercury moves so quickly around the sun, that's why it's called Mercury. And the God has wings on his feet. He's the messenger god from Rome. The Greek god has a different name that I can't remember right now. Was it Hermes? Anyway, so much things to learn in this world. Getsuyobi, Kayobi, Suiyobi, Mokuyobi, which is wood. And now we're getting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is for the Odin, is another Norse god. Monday, Wednesday. Oh, Thursday is also Thor. Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi. Jeudi is from Jupiter. Jupiter. Okay, and so this is the planet Jupiter. I think, let's see. Oh, well, I'm not going to get into Sanskrit. Okay. Kinyobi. This is metal. And the Kinsei is Venus. Okay. The most beautiful planet in the planetary system. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 planets. We have the moon, which is a satellite of the Earth. And then we have Earth itself. Okay. Dose. Okay. So that's one way to say Earth. There's many ways to say Earth in Japanese, the least common of which is dose. In fact, I don't know. I'll have to look that one up, actually. And then finally, Nichiyobi. Okay? So remember the days of the week and the symbols that represent these days of the week. Okay? So now we're finally getting to taberu. Taberu. And the verb is tabemasu. Tabemasu, tabemasen, tabemashita, tabemasen deshita. So those are the two tenses that Japanese has, the non-past tense and the past tense. The positive form of the non-past tense is tabemasu. Kyo tabemasu. Ashita mo tabemasu. Kino tabemashita. Kino tabemasen deshita. Kino tabemasen deshita. Zen tabemasen deshita. Zen tabemasen deshita. I didn't eat at all. Do you have zen written down yet? Zen, Z-E-N, Z-E-N. It means not at all. And it's only used in the negative. Zen tabemasen deshita. Zen tabemasen deshita. Sensei wa kino tabemashita. So, taberu, tabemasen, tabemashita, and tabemasen deshita. Tabemono. Mono, I think I mentioned before, is a thing. Tabemono is a thing that we eat, and it's a very common word to mean food in Japanese. We're going to be learning a lot of mono words from this point on. So just keep that in mind. This is tabemono. Tabemono, things that we eat. Tabemono. In other words, food. Tabemono. So this verb stem, we drop the R, the ru, and just add mas. So this tabe is the verb stem. Tabemono. So it's very convenient to know the verb stem. It's very versatile. I think any good language has a lot of versatility to it. So Japanese is a versatile language. Nani o tabemasu ka? Nani o tabemasu ka? Gohan o tabemasu desu ne. Gohan. I think you know all of these, so I'm not going to tell you the meaning. You'll see them later, but if you don't remember gohan by now, you better get to studying more. Gohan. Ramen. Last time we had pictures of these things. Ramen. Notice the over the line over the ramen. Ramen wa daisuki desu. まあ、ここで、インドで食べられない。インドで食べられない。It can't be eaten in India. でも、まあ、そして日本にいた時は、毎日ラーメンを食べるわけではなかったんですが、時々食べました。時々、よく食べました。時々食べました。よく、時々。よく means often. 時々 means sometimes. ラーメンを食べました。ラーメン。Okay. Maybe if you're in some of the larger Indian cities, you'll have a ramen yasan. I think maybe even in Cochin at the mall, they might sell ramen. Ramen. カレーライス。カレーライスも好きですね。よく食べました。日本にいた時によくカレーライスを食べました。There's a new brand of curry rice that's making inroads in Delhi, I heard. I think I saw that on the internet. Okay, カレーライス。パン。We haven't learned the word for pan yet. I think I mentioned it in passing. The first Europeans to arrive in Japan were the Portuguese, followed very quickly by the Dutch, and then the English chased both the Portuguese and the Dutch out. The Japanese were very confused. These are all Europeans. They all have white faces. They all look strange. Why do they fight with each other? Why do they seemingly have different gods, etc.? But they all ate pan, except for the English, of course, which ate bread. Pan. Pan. So it's a Romance language word, which is very common. The Japanese love their breads. They make the French baguette just as well as the French do. And you can buy a baguette all over Tokyo. Pan. Pan. The N sound is very nasal. Don't say pan. It's not like the frying pan. It's pan. 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 Tamago. Tamago. 私は毎日必ず卵を食べます。私は必ず毎日。必ず means absolutely, it's of necessity. I always. 必ず. It's a given. 必ず卵を食べます。だいたい2つを食べる。お腹が空いている日は3つを食べます。健康には良くない。健康には良くない。健康 is health. 健康には良くない。卵、毎日食べます。朝ごはんで食べます。卵。肉。肉は大好きですが、食べません。肉が食べません。食べません。肉 is meat. And I think I showed you the picture of the tsukiyaki where it had gyuniku. Gyuniku is beef. Niku. Chicken. Chicken. Chicken is one type of niku. Although we don't think of it as a meat really. Chicken. And it's pronounced chicken when it's eaten. But when it's on a skewer, it's yakitori. Yakitori. Yaku means to barbecue something. Yaku, or to burn it, or to cook it over a fire. Yaku. Yaki. Yaki is the stem for yaku. So we have kaku, we have yaku. Yakimasu. Yakimasu means I will burn it. I think it's burn it or fry it anyway. Yakimasu. Yakitori. Yakitori. On a skewer. Okay. Sakana. Sakana is fish. Sakana. So these words are all in Romaji. That means it goes on your list for memorization. Sakana. Sakana. If you want to know anything about Japan, you need to know the word sakana. Sakana. Okay. Oh, sushi. I put an honorific in front of sushi. That's an option. I don't know why I did that. I think I was feeling silly. It's just sushi. It looks funny with the, because we always see it just written sushi. But if somebody's being polite, they will call it osushi. Not everything gets an honorific put onto it, but sushi does. Ocha has to have an honorific. They never say cha, they always say ocha. But sushi, they usually don't put the honorific on there. Gohan must have the honorific on there. Osushi, osushi. Osushi, otabe ni narimasu ka? I don't know my polite language very well, osushi. But in a restaurant, you'll probably hear osushi quite frequently. Ohashi, same thing for chopsticks, ohashi. Remember? But hashi wa tabemono de wa arimasen. So, tabemono desu. このご飯、ラーメン、カレーラスなどなど、これのすべては食べ物です。お箸は食べ物ではありません。I thought I would just leave it on this anyway. Okay, just for the heck of it. Tabemono. So here we have a list of tabemono plus one thing that's not a tabemono. I think I was going to look it up. How would you say an eating utensil? You know what? We've got 10 more minutes. I'm going to go. I've been to the internet. Oh, I didn't go to the internet. That's right. It's turned off. I'm not going to go to the internet. Take that back. Next time we'll go to the internet. Look at the dictionary. And I wanted to look up eating utensil, but okay. じゃあ、これは何ですか？これは食事です。The last slide was 食べ物. This slide is 食事. 食事 and 食べ物 can be used interchangeably, but 食事 means more particularly a meal. 食事. これは晩ご飯です。晩ご飯です。I'm going to introduce you to a website in the next slide, and in that website they use the word yoshoku. All of these meals have two ways to say it, yoshoku being the more formal way, yoshoku. And I almost said it just now. Okay, so this is an evening meal. It can be eaten during the day, but you can see the fire here. I don't know if the fire's on. At first I did think it was, but or maybe it's just a stand. No, it's going to be cooked. And we see, I didn't tell you the names of the various vegetables, but this is a nabe mono. Nabe mono. Once again, we see the mono. And the nabe is the actual pot. This is a nabe. In this case, it's a terracotta pot. It can also be a metal pot. Onabe. Onabe. And sometimes the O is put in front of nabe. Onabe. Okay. Onabe mono. And in this meal, we have gohan. And notice the nice lid on top. These are very fancy rice bowls with lids. Here's another one, gohan. Okay? And then we have soup. Now, I chose the English word for soup because I assume that this is what's in it. And most commonly with a Japanese meal, we have miso shiro. Oh, I was wondering, what is this? Is this somen? Is it soba? It's some type of men, which is a noodle. Soba is a buckwheat noodle. But I don't think that's soba. It could be. Is it somen? I don't know. It's a noodle with a nice clear broth. The broth is probably a fish stock. The fish stock, it uses bonito, which is a type of tuna. And it's fried together with some seaweed, and it's called dashi. Dashi is the basic cooking ingredient in Japan. You have to have kanarazu dashi ga aru desu ne in a household, along with your soy sauce. You've got dashi. Okay. Miso shiro. Miso shiru. Miso shiru is the most common soup in Japan. Almost always you get some miso shiro. Miso shiru. And you can see it has a lid on it like the rice does, or like this soup bowl does. Quite common to see bowls with lids on them, especially in nicer restaurants. The only thing that takes away from this being a nice restaurant is this, I'm pointing with my finger, this metal pitcher that's kind of ugly. The Japanese are very, they eat with their eyes, they say. They're very conscientious about how something looks. But this looks like this portion of the table can be taken out. So they might also cook tsukiyaki in this restaurant. So, and this restaurant isn't considered to be such an upscale restaurant. But you can see, oh, that's the miso. Miso shiro is made with this miso, hashi, and the chawan. Okay? And I put a chawan mushi because it's my favorite. I think we're getting to the time. I'm getting tired. My energy is flagging. And I'm also becoming hypercritical of myself. I didn't list what these things are. These are, I think some of them are otsukemono. This looks like a mushroom. It's probably a boiled mushroom in some type of broth. These are just little tasty snacks to kind of whet your palate. Shows you the variety. And I also didn't put this as a senbei, which is a type of rice cracker. And it comes it almost always comes inside this plastic wrapper. Okay. Here we have a breakfast. And this is from the Puni Puni Japan. You can go to this website. It's a very cute website. And that's where they use words like choshoku instead of asagohan. Okay, we'll go through this in the next lesson. I have the various things listed here. So we're going to continue with tabemono in the next lesson. It's quite a extensive lesson. So we will be, and then here we get to nomu and on to nomimono. And here's various nomimonos. But we'll go over that in the next lesson. So I'd like to end here today. And since it is Ama's birthday, I will end on Ama's picture. Otanjoubi omedetou gozaimasu. Otanjoubi omedetou gozaimasu, Ama-sama. And Ama is a beautiful, very beautiful woman, 67 years old, full of energy and dealing with this coronavirus epidemic in the best way possible. So you can visit the website, which is listed here. Okay, それでは皆さん、さようなら、さようなら、また会いましょう。はい、さようなら。さようなら。